All right, welcome back. Part 2 of Rational Expressions Review. I am going to continue for number 12 through 18. Number 12, notice you are dividing, and if you can find your big divisor, it will help you right here, okay? Take a look at that first part. Notice you are subtracting. So before you can take the reciprocal, you might want to deal with this first, okay? So let's find our least common denominator for our addition and subtraction. In this case, we're subtracting. What do those guys have in common? What is the least common denominator? That would be 5x. I want this guy to be equivalent to this one. I have a 5 and a 5x here. So what am I missing from this denominator? That would be your x. What you do to the denominator, you do to the numerator. So that will give you 16x minus, okay? Take a look at these two denominators. Notice I am missing a 5, and I want the old one to look like the new one, the one with the LCD. So I'm going to multiply this one by 5. What you do to the denominator, you multiply times the top. Negative 1 times 5 is negative 5. All of that over 5x. See how you have that as one fraction now? Once you have that as one big fraction, you can now take the reciprocal. So you'll have 16x minus 5 over 5x. Instead of dividing, I'm going to multiply. This is the same thing as 5x over 1. Take your reciprocal, 1 over 5x. Okay? You can just multiply across. Notice there's nothing for you guys to cancel out, so multiply across. 16x minus 5 times 1 is 16x minus 5. 5x times 5x is 25x squared. And that is as simple as you can make it for number 12. Number 13, okay? This right here is the same thing as 3 over 1. Now, notice this is your divisor right here. Do you see how you have a negative right there? You have to find a least common denominator for this one and simplify this one into one big fraction before you can take the reciprocal. So, what is the least common multiple? M plus 2 times 4. Okay? Basically, I just multiply the two denominators together. All right. Take a look. Notice I have m plus 2 here, and I'm wanting this one to look like this. I want to multiply this one times 4. What you do to the denominator, do to the numerator. 4 times 3 is 12. Okay? Take a look at these two. You see how you have a 4 and a 4? M plus 2 hasn't been accounted for. So I'm going to multiply this one times m plus 2. Because what you do to the denominator, you do to the numerator. So that'll leave you negative m plus 2 times m plus 2. Okay? So let's go ahead and take care of this one. So here's my divisor. All of that, 3 divided by all of that. All right. Let's go ahead and take care of this part right here. So 3 over, okay? You have 12 minus, notice that's a negative right here, so I'm going to take opposite of everything. M times m is m squared, so negative m squared, okay? 2m plus 2m is plus 4m, so make that a minus 4m. 2 times 2 is positive 4, negative 4. All of it over m plus 2 times 4. Try to write your numbers first. Keep in mind that's your big divisor. Now you can take the reciprocal of those guys. Okay? So, 3 over 1. Instead of dividing, I'm going to multiply. 4 times m plus 2 goes in the numerator. Go ahead and combine your like terms. Negative m squared minus 4m. 12 minus 4 is plus 8. Okay. If you like, you can see if you can factor that out. I'm going to factor out a negative, and so I have m squared plus 4m minus 8. Okay. See if you can factor that down some more. M and m, 6 and 2, plus and minus. Notice I'm just marking it off so I don't rewrite it. So let me see if it looks prettier. 3 over 1. Now take a look at these guys. This one and this one. Is there anything you can cancel out? Okay? And since you can't, there wasn't even a reason why we did this, but I just want to show you guys that sometimes it's good to factor down to see if you can cancel anything out. Since you can't, you leave it like you see it. So, you can just multiply across. 3 times 4 is 12, m plus 2. All of that over negative m squared minus 4m plus 8. And there's your solution for number 13. Okay? Number 14. Now we're hitting solving. So just to refresh your memory, the easiest thing to do is you might want to find your least common denominator first. If you would do that, it will make it a lot easier. Okay? So find our least common denominator. For this one, look at your denominator. What would be the least common denominator? Notice your 2 is the biggest number. N squared is your biggest one, so that's your least common denominator. Now, draw your line plus a line equals a line. That's from here. Line plus line equals a line. Okay? Write your LCD. 2n squared, 2n squared, 2n squared. Take a look at this first one. Notice, I have an n squared. I'm missing a 2. Multiply that 1 by 2. Okay? So you have 2n plus 2. Take a look at this one. I'm missing a 2 also. See, I have an n squared. 3 times 2 is 6. See this part? Your denominator is exactly the same already, so I don't have to do anything. These guys are equivalent, these two are equivalent, and these two are equivalent. Okay? Once you do that, you can cancel out your denominator, and you just got rid of your fractions. So now you have 2n plus 2 plus 6 equals 1. Okay? Combine your like terms. 2n plus 8 equals 1. Subtract 8. 2n equals negative 7. Divide by 2. N is equal to negative 7 over 2. You only have one answer. No need to check for extraneous. Okay? 15. These guys are the same. This one's different. So let's see if we can find our least common denominator. I'm going to factor one of them just to see which one I'm missing. Factors of x squared is x and x. What are two numbers that multiply to give you 15 and it's going to subtract to give you 2? Positive 5, negative 3. Okay? So, your LCD, least common denominator, is x plus 5 times x minus 3. Exactly the same. And this one, x plus 5. Already got it right there. So now I'm going to draw a line equals a line plus a line. Don't factor your numerator. Just factor your denominator. And I'm going to write my least common denominator for each one of these. Okay? Now, take a look. Are they exactly the same? Yes, everything has been accounted for. Bring your 3 down. Take a look at your denominator. Has everything been accounted for? Yes. Bring down your 5. Okay? Look at this one right here. You have x plus 5 right here. Which one hasn't been accounted for? X minus 3. See that right there? So 1 times x minus 3 is x minus 3. Okay. Now that you got everything filled in, you can do this because there's that equal sign. Cancel your denominator, so you have 3 equals 5 plus x minus 3. This looks very simple to solve. Combine your like terms. On the same side, do not change the sign. 2 plus x, subtract 2, okay? X is equal to 1. You have one answer. No need to check for extraneous. Number 16, okay? Here we go. Be very cautious of this negative here. So, just be very cautious of that as we are working the problem, okay? Let's factor this one down to see what we got. Factors of x squared is x and x. Two numbers that multiply give you negative 10, subtract to give you 3. Negative 5, positive 2. Okay? Let's find our LCD. And this one's the same thing as 1 over 1. X minus 5, x plus 2. See that right there? X plus 2 accounted for, 1 accounted for. Line minus a line equals a line. Okay? Write your least common denominator under each one. X minus 5 times x plus 2. X minus 5 times x plus 2. X minus 5 plus x plus 2. Has everything been accounted for in your denominator? You bet. Go ahead and bring this down. Keep in mind that's a negative, okay? That kind of changes everything. All right. What is missing from this one? X minus 5. That's what hasn't been accounted for, okay? Do you see this minus? Changes everything to the opposite. So, notice you got a binomial and a binomial. So I'm going to go, what's negative? What's x times x? X squared. Okay? Next part. Now I'm just going to keep this together. Negative 5x plus 3x is negative 2x. Okay. 3 times negative 5 is negative 15. See that right there? You got a 1. What am I missing from all of that? All of this. But since I'm going to be combining, I'm going to be adding later, instead of writing this, I can write this part right here because they are equal to each other, because that's where I factor. So x squared minus 3x minus 10. Okay? Cancel all your denominator. I'm going to scoop this up just a little bit so you can see it all. Okay? Let's rewrite. 3x squared minus 11x minus 20. Remember how I told you to be cautious of this negative right there? Changes all that sign, guys. Minus x squared plus 2x plus 15 equal x squared minus 3x minus 10. Make that up just a little more. Okay? Kind of a long problem. Combine your like terms. 3x squared minus x squared is 2x squared. Negative 11 plus 2x, negative 9x. Negative 20 plus 15, negative 5, equal x squared minus 3x minus 10. Okay. Notice the square, set it equal to 0. Okay. Minus x squared, which do to one side, we do to the other. Plus 3x plus 10. Combine your like terms. Okay? All you have left is 0 equal x squared minus 6x plus 5. Now, you can do the quadratic formula, or you can factor. Notice your a's and 1. I am going to factor x and x. Two numbers multiply to give you a 5, and it's going to add to give you 6. Negative 5, negative 1. Okay? Set this one equal to 0. X is equal to 5. Set this one equal to 0. X is equal to 1. Notice you have two answers. Look at your LCD. LCD, you had x minus 5, x plus 2. X cannot be 5. X cannot be negative 2. Do you have an answer that's a 5? Right there. That is called your extra solution. Okay? That's not going to count. So the only answer to this one is 1. So anytime you have two or more answers, and usually that's in your quadratic, you need to check to see if you have any extraneous solutions. And you can look at your least common denominator to determine that. Number 18. Okay, let me move this one up just so you guys can see the overall. So, one at a time. All right. Number 17. Okay, let's get this down a little bit. Alrighty. This is the same thing as 2 over 1. Okay, and if you look, factor this down first. What are some factors of r squared? R and r. Minus 2, minus 1. So, your LCD, your least common denominator, is r minus 2 times r minus 1. Okay? You have an r minus 2 already. You have a 1 accounted for. Line equals a line plus another line. See that? Write your least common denominator for each one of them. Okay. Look at this very first term. I want my denominator to look like this one, so what do I have to do? I need to multiply that 2 times the whole thing. Now, instead of me writing it like this, I'm going to write it like the way I had it originally before I factor. That will save me a lot of steps later on that I don't have to do. Look at your second term. They're all accounted for, so just write r squared plus 8r plus 12. Okay? Look at this one here. What hasn't been accounted for? Your r minus 1. So you're going to multiply these guys times r plus, not plus, my apologies, r minus 1. That should be a negative. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and multiply this out. I'm going to distribute. I'm going to multiply all of it. So I have r times r is r squared. 1r plus, 5r minus 1r is plus 4r. 5 times negative 1 is negative 5. Okay? Guess what happens to my denominator? They all cancel out. So let's go ahead and distribute. Let's multiply. 2r squared minus 6r plus 4 equal r squared plus 8r plus 12r plus r squared plus 4r minus 5. Sorry, guys. Okay, let's keep going. 2r squared minus 6r plus 4 equal r squared plus r squared is 2r squared. 8r plus 4r is plus 12r plus 7. Okay. Notice you have a square. Set it equal to 0. Here we go. What you do to one side, you do to the other. Minus 2r squared minus 2r squared. Plus 6r plus 6r. Minus 4 minus 4. So now you have 0 equal. See how those cancel? 12r plus 6r is 18r plus 3. Okay? Notice, okay, it's already set equal to 0. Solve for r. Minus 3 minus 3. Negative 3 is equal to 18r. Divide by 18. R is equal to negative 1 over 6. Do you see how you only have one answer? You don't need to go and check for extraneous. And that's number 17. Number 18. Okay? Same concept. Here's number 18. Simplify that first. See if you can factor that down so you can see your least common denominator. Factor out your 3, so you got r minus 3. Notice, I have a 3 and a 3 accounted for. 3r minus 9, 3r minus 9. So your least common denominator is 3 times r, 3 minus 3. I'm sorry, 3 times r minus 3. Okay? All right, here we go. Line equals a line minus a line. Line equals a line minus a line. Be very cautious of this negative right here. Okay? Just be careful with that when you work it. All right. 3 has been accounted for. Let me write my least common denominator for every one of my fractions. Okay. 3's been accounted for. I am missing r minus 3. 1 times r minus 3 is r minus 3. Okay? Have been accounted for. Write what you see. Everything been accounted for. Write what you see. And I'm going to put parentheses around it because that negative will throw you off if you're not careful. Okay? What happens to your denominator? They all cancel out. So let's rewrite. R minus 3 equals r squared minus 3r minus 4. Remember that negative? That's like a negative 1 minus 3r plus 1. Okay? I got a square here. Let's combine some like terms. Keep that in mind in case it's a quadratic. R squared. 3r, negative 3r minus 3r is negative 6r. Minus 3. Okay? Set it equal to 0. Minus r, minus r. Okay? Plus 3, plus 3. See how that cancels out? So you have 0 equal r squared minus 7r. Guess what happens to my 3? Those cancel out. Oh, look, you only have 2 terms. You can use the quadratic, but I think it'll take you longer, so I'm just going to factor. Factor out your r. What do you have left? R minus 7. Set that r equal to 0. There's one of your solution. Set this one equal to 0, and r is equal to 7. There's your other solution. Notice I have 2 answers. Check your LCD. Least common denominator was 3r minus 3. Okay? So, r cannot be 3. Is that any of those, either one of these my not solution? Any one of those a 3? No. So guess what? Both of these are your correct answer. Guys, good luck on your tests. Do very well. Please go back and print any blank copies that you need at home, and the more practice you do, the better you're going to get. Thank you.